I haven't got time to mark this motherfucker. Here we go again. We can't hear anybody. Nobody can talk to anybody.
You guessed it, Pressure Points with your two favorite hosts. I'm D, and this is Nutnado AJ. We're coming at you with Season 6, Episode 6, Goiania's food poisoning. I'm talking about one of the craziest things that happened in South America in 1987. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at PointsOPressure.
Well, turn the fucking thing off, you dumbass.
This entire intro is cursed.
I told you it would still be funny the second
Well,
time.
no, it was funny because the second you hit the music, you punched the table. I don't know what that noise was.
Drop my phone again. For like the seventh time.
Onto the table underneath your microphone.
Yeah. So here we are.
So this is our second take.
Yeah.
Because Nutnado made him forget what the name of the episode was.
Okay, so
God.
we're fucking here.
I gotta track that down and post it onto our onto the business account.
God, good
Holy
Lord.
shit.
So, welcome back.
Welcome.
It's been
It's been a week.
An interesting 30 minutes that we've been together now.
Yeah.
Oh, how was your week?
Let's say it was good. One of my teachers put a test down as a 0 when I got 74%.
What?
And they haven't emailed me back yet.
What the fuck?
But they will, because I got screenshots.
Yeah.
I will destroy them.
Yeah.
They
take
don't
those
do that
bitches
shit.
to court.
Yeah, and also 74 is the high in the class.
Oh,
it turns
Jesus.
out. Yeah.
God damn. Well, congratulations on your high score.
Oh, thank you.
Good. I'm glad that it was a good week.
Yeah, not too bad. How about yours?
Yeah, it was good. Had a buddy come from out of town on my face to
Oh.
visit just for the evening.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, came over, stayed the night. We fucking just took it easy. Had some good gin and tonics. I convinced AJ how good G&Ts can be.
Yeah,
You've been
that was
converted.
surprisingly good.
Yeah, good gin makes a big difference
Yeah.
for those of you who
Turns out.
do have drinks. But yeah, past that, fairly low-key fucking week.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah, not too bad.
Nice. I'm getting ready for the next one. I've got 2 finals
Yeah.
in 2
yuck.
days.
You're almost at midterm, right?
Yeah. So one of my classes is 8 weeks. And
Yeah.
we'll be finishing that off. Well, it's more of a paper, but it's still a final. And then the maternal newborn is ending and peds is starting. Yay.
But like,
You know how much I
pediatrician
love
stuff?
children. Pediatrics?
Yeah,
Just
there we go.
children.
I was like, I don't know what the
Yeah.
fuck.
I'm learning how to care for pediatricians.
I was like, I don't know what the word is, but pediatricians, that's what they do. Okay. Yeah, and I know how much you love not infants, but little kids. Like, I know how much you love 8-year-olds.
You need to be very careful with what you're saying right now.
You're only going to have, like, that specific age group tomorrow, and then they're going to find this when you're applying for nursing for a fucking job. And be like, so
They better not.
what's this about this 8-year-old's joke,
Yeah.
AJ? Yeah, Valentine's Day. Did you do anything
yeah.
special?
Fuck,
I just barely
no.
remembered.
I did not get cheesecake.
Yeah, me neither. Me
Like,
fucking
what the
neither.
fuck?
Despite telling her about the cheesecake story 2 days before Valentine's Day, no cheesecake. So I
Yeah,
guess you
I'm
can
pissed.
say AJ and I are available.
Yeah.
We're both back on Twinder. Where that's where you
Is
only
that where
look for
twinks-
twins.
Oh.
twin twinks. Twink twins.
Twink twins. We're only
that
looking
10
for
times
twinktons.
fast.
Twin.
Twink-
Fuck, I can't say it.
Twinktons.
Tin.
Plankton.
Tin.
Twinktons. So yeah. Yeah, clearly we've had the worst Valentine's Day of all time up to this point. So yeah, I'll just jump right into it.
No, don't.
We did a recent fucking Actually, I'm not even going to reference it until later on in the show because it'll give something away. So, in 1987, Robert dos Santos Alves and his buddy Wagner Mota Pereira, and I'm just going to call him Rob and Wagner because that shit's way easier for me.
Rob and Wagner. All right.
All right. They heard word of an abandoned building in the center of Goiania, Brazil. Now, if you want to look this up, it's Goiania, Goiania, Brazil. Inside, there's this machine that nobody really knows what the fuck it is or what it does. Mm-hmm. It's just this abandoned building with a very new, nice-looking machine in it. And so this building's been abandoned for about 2 years up to this point.
And it hasn't had all the copper stripped out of it?
Yeah,
Man,
right?
that's not in Utah.
Well, the main reason why this hasn't been completely stripped is because you need really fucking specific tools to crack this bitch open. Like, it's almost like an alien device. And
yeah, it's just a technical kind of device. Yeah.
So
it's more than busting a hole in the drywall and
just
taking out the
pulling,
copper cords,
wiggling and pulling.
Okay, yeah. So it's some salvage work.
Yeah. Now a lot of homeless people in the area will use this building for like a place of shelter for the night. And Rob and Wagner get as many tools as they can together, and they sneak over on Sunday, September 13th. The machine was designed in a way that, like I said, you need really, really specific tools to break this thing open. It's not like, oh yeah, walk up and you have like an adjustable wrench and you can get through. You have
there's a Phillips head right there.
You have one good hammer and you're all set. It takes them a good couple hours to fucking break through, bust this thing open. And I mean, they're just using the home tools that they brought.
So like an axe.
Yeah, seriously.
Hammer,
100%.
chisel.
It's just like they have
whatever.
A wheelbarrow with a handful of fucking random shit, and they break this thing open. And they discover, so they go into like the top side of it, and they find this like steel metallic tube. But it's like this thing it's like a big fucking tube. So much so that both of them have to carry it over to the wheelbarrow to get it home. And this thing looks super expensive.
Yeah.
Like, they just busted open this machine, and there's this real nice, shiny steel tube. They're like, fuck yeah, we're taking this. So toss it in the wheelbarrow, and they take it on home.
Nice.
Just half
music,
a kilometer,
they're
like, oh yeah, local scrapyard's gonna have a heyday, and we're gonna make money with this.
Hell yeah!
So they roll it into Rob's garage, and they just keep going.
Good old Rob, you know,
fucking hammering, chiseling, using heat. I don't fucking know what they were doing.
Using heat.
Yeah,
they set it out in the sun for a couple
hours. They put it in
hours.
the microwave
to
a couple
soften it
times.
up. Yeah.
And they managed to finally break the tube open, and inside is a capsule that's about like 10 inches long, I think. It's small for how big the other one was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got this little fucking window on the top side of it.
Okay.
So
you can peek inside?
Yeah, so you can kind of look inside, but because of how it's angled down, you can't really see what's in there. So it doesn't really provide any additional information. It doesn't have like a part number. It doesn't have anything on it. So they're like, okay, well, fuck it. We'll just, tomorrow we'll take it over to the scrapyard maybe if we can't figure this thing out. So, they go to bed that night, but just before they're going to bed, both of them are kind of feeling like crummy. They're like, my tummy's a little bit upset. Well, probably, yeah. I mean, they're working on this thing for like 2-3 hours there.
And then they had to bring it back home and then
break it open there.
And they used heat.
Yeah. And they're probably not eating the greatest Brazilian cuisine
if they're scrapping
abandoned buildings. So Yeah, they're both like, oh god, I did not have a good fucking lunch. Probably didn't even, they probably skipped dinner. So they're like, we're just gonna fucking take it easy tonight. We'll continue this tomorrow. So Wagner wakes up. He feels like shit. Like, dude wakes up and he's just puking his fucking brains out. He feels constantly dizzy. But the biggest thing that has him fucked up is that his left hand is like the size of a fucking grapefruit. Like, this thing
that's
is
messed up.
super swollen. And on it, he has a burn that looks similar to the, like on his palm, there's a burn that looks similar to the pattern on that capsule. And he's like, it must have been when we were trying to break it open. Maybe we fucking
because I
hammered
assume
it a
they were
bunch and heated up
blowtorching it.
Oh yeah, that's
Like,
my guess. Is on that big
it was
one.
blowtorch, and then he grabbed it and just they were so into it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. So he's like, I feel fucking terrible, and he goes to the nearest Instacare on Tuesday. He kind of he's like, Monday, fuck this. I'm not doing anything. He and Rob kind of take it easy. So Wagner goes on Tuesday because he's not feeling any fucking better. Goes to the local Instacare, and they're like, dude, you're having a major food reaction. Did your wife get you?
Oh, a food reaction.
Yeah, an allergic reaction to some kind of food. We don't know what the fuck it was.
Yeah.
Probably a cheesecake.
It's definitely a cheesecake.
So, he tells Rob, he's like, dude, I don't know what the fuck we both ate, but like, it's just a food allergy that we both have. And Rob's like, okay. They both call into work and just take it easy for the rest of the week.
Did the doctors just say, like, pop a Benadryl, good luck? Or?
Yeah, pretty much just like, sleep it off. Rest
it'll pass
up.
with time.
As you stop puking, you'll kind of get back on your feet. So Friday hits, and Rob is kind of getting some cabin fever. So he's like, whatever, we're just going to, I'll check out the capsule thing. We'll work this shit out.
Yeah.
Grabs a capsule, takes it outside underneath his little tree, and he's just sitting under the tree in the shade. Still feels a little dumpy, and he's just kind of like trying to wiggle off like the window, and his screwdriver ends up puncturing the little window.
Oh, okay. He got in.
Yeah, pokes a hole in
now
there.
he can drink whatever's in there.
Right, and as he takes his screwdriver out, on the end of the screwdriver in the little like Phillips X, there's a bunch of like blue powder. So he's like, what the
weird.
fuck? So he puts the screwdriver down.
It's blue cocaine.
Yeah,
trust
right.
me.
It's Heisenberg meth in 1987.
Perfect.
So he runs inside, grabs a spoon, and he like fucking shakes some out onto the spoon, grabs a lighter, and he's like,
I'm gonna see if this is on fire.
He literally is like,
No.
his thought process is maybe this is a fucking gunpowder. So he takes a lighter to it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't fucking know what was in the water in 1987 in Brazil. But he's got this spoon of like blue shiny dust, takes a lighter to it. Nothing happens. And he's like,
I mean, that's good. He could have blown
he's like,
up.
okay, well, I didn't
fuck?
fucking explode. So he calls up Wagner and he's like, dude, I cracked the code, or I cracked the screen, my bad. And he's like, it's got this blue powder in there. I don't know what the fuck this thing is, dude. I say we just sell it off. Like, I think we'll make good money from it. We'll sell the scraps and everything. Split the pot. Wagner agrees. So they take it over to a scrapyard owned by this guy named DeVere. And DeVere's checking it out, and he notices, like he buys it from these guys.
Yeah.
And he's kind of, like, fiddling with it. He's like, what the fuck? Leaves it out on the counter. And before he's headed out for the day, he looks over at it, just like one last check, you know.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that thing? Glances over to it, and he sees that, like, there's light coming out of the little window.
Light coming out of the window?
Yeah. Like, he can see, like, a little bit of a glow in the window.
That's something.
So he walks over to it, and he's like his first two thoughts are, he's like, this is either something expensive or it has ghosts in it.
It's definitely the ghosts.
This is expensive.
The ghosts are inside there.
Or haunted.
Well, they're expensive ghosts.
Yeah. So he does what any sensible person would do when they see something expensive or haunted, or both. He's like, I got to take this home and show all my fucking friends. So he grabs it, throws it into his truck, drives home, and sorry, my voice is getting a little fucky.
How dare you?
And DeVere holds like a little neighborhood museum exhibit and opens up his garage door and he says, hey, everybody come in. Look at this really fucking fancy thing that I paid way too little of money for what this thing's actually worth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are probably gems inside this thing. Like, who fucking knows? So, I mean, the whole fucking neighborhood is, like, in and out of his garage, looking at
Everybody's
it, trying
taking
to
a
figure out
look.
what the fuck it is. Yeah. Like, seeing if anyone in the neighborhood's like, oh, yeah, this is, the part that takes Marty from the future to the past and back to the future. It just needs 1.221 gigawatts. So, yeah, nobody has any idea. They all look at it, hand it around, no luck. So, this pretty much goes on for, like, the whole weekend. Friday, Saturday,
Everybody's
Sunday,
taking turns.
everybody's popping in. Some people are coming back and saying like, "Yo, what the fuck? Like, let me get another look at this."
I got an idea.
now
you
that I've
got some of that
slept on
blue
it-
powder that I can snort.
Yeah, when I look at it upside down, well, he hasn't discovered the blue powder
okay.
yet.
It was just the other.
Yeah, so nobody's able to figure this thing out, and
It's a conundrum.
yeah, so DeVere ends up like tipping it over, and he gets like the full glass window out, basically, right?
Okay. So they're making some progress.
Yeah, and he pours out what looks like little blue rice granules, but as soon as they land like on the table or in his hand or whatever, they kind of just like immediately crumble into a powder. So, like, and it's got a pretty fucking good amount of it in there. So, and it's like almost like glittery. So he takes it and he goes, well, I mean, if we can't figure out what this fucking thing is, then I'll just sell it to the next scrapyard. But I'm going to take this like blue powder around and give it to people to give a shit about this. Like,
Yeah.
like
Hey,
family,
figure this
friends,
out.
like, hey, here's
There's
this cool fucking
Dude,
makeup. Like,
he
put
should've
it on
been
your
charging
face, whatever.
tickets for like
Yeah.
to come and see it. By now, he'd be making
Right?
a lot of money.
So, like, he ends up just taking a ton of it over to like his brother's place, to some friend's place, and he's like, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get rid of this thing anyway, so here's some of the shit that was in there. Fuck it, whatever. Like, enjoy
There you
yourself.
go.
Like, paint up your faces and take a cool family photo. I don't know.
Throw it in your enemy's face.
Right? And same thing, kind of like before. He shows up and he's like, hey, does anybody recognize what this powder is? Same thing. No, everyone's like, nope, no fucking idea. Never seen it before, but it looks cool. And he takes it over to his brother, Evo. He takes it to Evo's place, and Evo's 6-year-old daughter is like, this is the coolest fucking thing on the planet. Like, think about when you were young, and they're like, hey, here's kinetic sand, and you're
Nah,
like,
dude,
what the
I'm
fuck?
gonna tell you right now. When I was young, a sharpened stick would do that to me.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
And now it's a powder that, like, makes
And
you...
blue powder?
Yeah, glowing blue powder that's shimmery. So,
Whoa.
so Evo's like, yeah, no idea what it is. Daughter is like, oh my God, this is the coolest shit ever. Lighty, I think was her name. And she, like, Evo's pretty much like, yeah, here you go. Fucking have at it. And Lighty plays around with it for a little bit, gets it, like, all over the front room and everything. She's like glittery little avatar kid.
Whoa.
And she ends up getting hungry, makes herself a sandwich. And at that point, DeVere is like, oh, hey, I'll see you guys later. And he's on his way out. Lighty eats her sandwich. Evo just watches his fucking daughter have a grand old time with this shit.
Yeah.
So, on Tuesday, DeVere's wife, Gabriella, starts kind of feeling a little bit sick. She's like, yo, I feel like I have food poisoning. Wakes up,
Ooh,
tummy's...
that bad peanut butter.
Yeah,
That's the peanut butter he uses to fuck.
You know what it was? She went to the same Italian place that
Ah,
that
Boca de
dude,
Beppo.
yeah, that same.
Nah, it was Olive
She
Garden.
got the cream sauce. And
Yeah.
she's getting the bubble gut.
She's getting
So-
the bubble gut from the cream sauce.
So Gabriella's feeling a little icky, And so she runs over to the clinic to get treated. DeVere ends up selling the capsule to another scrapyard. He's like, yo, I haven't been able to figure this shit out all weekend. Fuck it. Realizes that he can't get great value on it because nobody knows what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
So he can't sell it to like a specialist or anything. So just takes it to a scrapyard, sells it off.
Yeah, sell it for weight and scrap.
Fuck it. Yeah. Who cares? Somebody else's problem now. Now they can deal with it and figure out this shit. And the next couple of days go by really quickly for the community. And Gabriella kind of notices that everybody's getting this same sickness, which is the same one that Rob and Wagner had, where it's just this fucking food poisoning, more or less.
Yeah,
like
he gets nausea, some swelling.
Yeah, a food
vomiting,
allergy. That's
maybe.
kind of what the clinic
You
told
know what?
Gabriella.
I'm thinking the mechanic dude didn't wash his hands after shitting. Gave everybody, touched everybody, had a bunch of people coming over, and they all got like listeria.
It was
or
actually
something.
a
They got
homeless
Hep
dude
E.
in part 1 that just shit all. He used that machine as a toilet.
Yeah.
And that whole thing was just filled with old shit, and it's just getting around
Now
everywhere.
that machine is the milk of magnesia holder for the
It just has layers and layers of like really fine
Just
milk of
full of
magnesia
it.
on it. Somebody melted down a bunch of sugar-free gummy bears. And
Yeah,
just
put it
fucking
right on. And that's why they couldn't get in. It was a protective casing of sugar-free gummy
gave
bears.
them the shits, man.
Mhm.
So yeah, everybody's starting to get this fucking food poisoning. Clinics are telling them, yeah, it's some weird food allergy that's going on. Everybody's got it. You just stay in for a couple days, you'll be fine. But something isn't sitting right with Gabriella. And she's kind of like, everybody was fine, and everybody that's starting to go into the clinic with the same like symptoms that I had, they all handled that fucking blue stuff, that blue meth, that blue powder. They all fucked around with that little
The Brazilian Coke.
little capsule. So she's still got a little bit of the blue powder sitting off to the side. So she
snorts it.
Yeah, she
just to
fucking scrapes it into pretty much like a grocery bag, more or less. And she goes into the garage to find where her husband had like tinkered around, chipped off pieces of the capsule, little pieces of that fucking window, puts those in the bag too. And she's like, I'm gonna go to the clinic, see if maybe this is like some like weird preservative. I don't fucking know what the fuck this thing is. So she takes it to the clinic. The clinic looks at it and they're like, we don't know what that shit is. Take it to the health regulatory agency down the road. So going to the regulatory agency, the health agency, she's got to catch a couple buses. Like it's not just like, oh, right next door. She's got to catch a few buses, hops on them, rides it over, gets off at the HRA, the agency, and hops out, drops off the fucking grocery bag of stuff, and the health agency is like, okay, like this is definitely the cause of it if all these people have been in contact with it. So they transfer everybody that's at the clinic over to the health regulatory agency. They're like, we know that this is what like caused the problem. Everybody that's being transferred over is like, yeah, I touched that stuff. Yeah, I touched that stuff. Yeah, I did. So they're like, okay, we'll figure out what the fuck this is. And the next day, one of the doctors is doing an evaluation on these people, and they notice all of these fucking lesions on one of the people. And they're like, this isn't just a food allergy. This looks like radiation sickness and radiation.
Wait, you're telling me you don't get burned from food allergies?
So the dude's like, what the fuck? And another person comes in and is like, what's the stuff she brought in? And walks over and kind of looks at like a couple of the parts, a couple of little pieces of they had taken off. And he's like, and she had like, I'm pretty sure she drew like a little thing of what the capsule looked like. And the dude's like, yeah, this looks like it's from an X-ray machine. And so they call a physicist to test the material. And the physicist is like, I'll be there first thing tomorrow morning. So next day on the...
So then, after he's done touching it, he goes and makes himself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right?
Starts feeling a little bit sick the next day. So the physicist shows up the next day and he swung by the Brazilian nuclear office and rents the fuck is it
A
called?
Geiger counter.
No, it's a scintillation counter, which is
Okay.
basically like, I don't know all of the details on how it works, but it's basically like, hey, it'll show if radiation's in the area. So he goes and grabs his little scintillation counter, shows up at the regulatory agency, and he hops out of his car, pulls out the counter, and he's like, okay, like, let me just give it a once over. Well, it's showing that it's fucking everywhere. And he's like,
Nice.
well, this thing's busted. So
Oh,
puts it back into his car.
let's not trust the
he's
machine.
like, this one's got to be decalibrated, because he's not even inside the facility. He's like, there's no way that this thing's already fucked up. So he gets another one from the Brazilian nuclear offices, drives back over, hops out of his car, takes it out, same fucking thing. And he's like, shit.
Yeah,
So
that's a big deal.
this entire, like, fucking health agency is on contamination lockdown at this point. They evacuate everybody that hasn't had fully direct contact to this, like, grocery bag of radiation.
The grocery bag of radiation is my doomsday device.
Right? So they kind of start, like, backtracking. They're like, okay, what the fuck
Yeah, they got to
is this
trace
stuff?
it. They got to contact trace all of it.
So, the building that Rob and Wagner got into is the old Goiania Radiation Institution, where they would
Nice.
where they would do fucking cancer treatment. Now, this is 1985. The machine, well, they moved in 1985. They moved from that location where Rob and Wagner went, and they went to their new facility, and they brought the Cobalt 60 teletherapy machine with them. However, they left behind the older model because they didn't have the license to run it anymore. This older model was a little bit different because you manually had to twist this thing to, like, open or basically twist the capsule so that window would fire radiation straight down and hopefully destroy the cells.
Hopefully hit where you want it to be.
Yeah, but, like, that
And,
window
yeah.
is to expose the radiation.
Yeah.
And these two fucks busted that open. Like, and they're like, radiation window, clink, clink, clink. Cool, it's open. So, yeah, fucking Goiania Radiation Institution leaves this old model behind, and it houses cesium-137, which is a radioactive blue soluble salt-like powder.
Nice. So they were just fucking around with cesium. That's phenomenal.
Now, over the course of these 2 fucking years, from 1985 to 1987, when Rob and Wagner show up, there's this real estate dispute where somebody's like, I own the land, and Goiania Radiation Institution's like, we own the building. And it's kind of like, who the fuck, like, tears things down, who clears things out,
whose responsibility is what?
Yeah, who can sell the land and profit off of it. So it just kind of sits in this abandoned facility, which, like, 6 months after they left, it ended up fucking collapsing in a little bit. And so it looks just dumpy as shit. It's not like, oh, your local destroyed or, like, local abandoned hospital that was abandoned 6 years ago. Like, this thing looked like shit. It looked like the place had been fucking bombed. And like I said, this kind of became a regular spot for people to just pop in and scrap stuff, where they're ripping copper out of the walls. They're, like, taking fucking as much 12-gauge wire as they can to line through their own house. But they're leaving this big fucking X-ray machine alone because they're like, oh, that looks like it's probably dangerous, except for Rob and fucking Wagner.
They don't know how to read danger radiation signs.
So the Radiation Institution, the abandoned area now.
God damn. No, I'm still... They were touching cesium with their hands, like, directly. Holy shit. Sorry, that's still like
No, dude.
that is so bad.
So I'm gonna get into let's see. So the radiation institution, the abandoned one, Rob's house, DeVere's house, Evo's house, both scrap yards, the clinic, the health agency, 14 cars, 7 more houses, and 3 buses are all listed as fully contaminated.
Yeah.
All of these spots are like, hey, you don't fucking, like, nobody goes in, nobody fucking goes out at this point because there's a chance you still have this shit on you.
There's not a chance. It's still there. It's a powder. Like, it's extremely fine.
And somebody's daughter has it in her system.
Yeah.
She ate a sandwich after eating this shit.
And a speck of this, a dust amount of this, is enough to release radiation just into the environment around you.
Bad
It's
news,
so
man.
bad.
So,
Let's
the
just hope they didn't have
response
shag
time-
carpet.
Yeah.
Let's just hope. That's never coming out.
Either that, or let's hope that they didn't have like marble flooring or anything.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're like, oh yeah, let me just mop this shit off the floor and
then
dump it down the sewer.
Dump it down the sewer.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
Like, and it's not like you can just burn the houses down, which then releases it into the atmosphere. Like, holy shit. The cleanup must have taken forever.
Yeah.
If there was even a cleanup.
No, there's a major response.
Good.
Like, Brazil's nuclear agency gets word that this is happening, and they're like, there's fucking soluble cesium
Just
out in a major city. Like, this is downtown Goiania, dude. So
She went on how many buses to get there? Oh, fuck.
yeah. So the whole city is kind of like,
And she put it in a plastic bag? In a Smith's bag?
I like to imagine at one point, just before she walked into the health regulatory agency, she opens the door and the air pressure blows the bag inside out.
Yeah.
And she's like picking up the pieces off the ground and putting them in. She's like,
a nice breeze picks up and
just blows it into a fucking like tanker with fish, like one of those open fish tankers. Oh gee, fuck that.
And, there's an elementary school in session right across the street. They have all the windows open.
They're doing a pool session.
It's
they're
carnival. There's a carnival
playing in the
outside.
fucking pool.
Yeah.
little slip and slide.
Ooh.
Slide through, get your daily cesium amount.
Microdose it.
Yeah, microdose cesium. So the whole city basically goes into lockdown, and they say, come here if you have seen any of these side effects in the last, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2
there's been
fucking
time,
weeks.
and you are all going to get cancer.
And at this point, it's the 30th. These guys cracked this shit open 17 days ago.
Jesus Christ.
So 115,000 people are tested or screened for radiation. 250 have radiation sickness. I don't even know how many were had
affected.
contact.
Yeah.
129 of them have internal contamination, which means that's
They
how many
inhaled it or
fucking
ate
people. Yeah, or gets into their water supply.
Got
Can't
under
see
their
that
nail,
shit.
and then they pick their nose, and then
one
Oh.
fucking granule of that, you're done for.
Holy
So
shit. Yeah, it was
7
probably thousands who had contact. Had to have been.
easily. So 7 houses are torn down, and all of the remains are taken 20 miles to the fucking west and dumped in this condemned area where they ended up covering it with 30 meters of dirt.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
You can just bury this shit.
85 other homes are found contaminated, and they basically have to what they would do is they would quarantine the home. All of these guys that are in their hazmat suits go in, and they are scanning every single item in the home. Every fucking item is checked.
Hey, at least you get your house cleaned, am I right?
Yeah, right. Anything that might have a little bit of it shows up on the fucking radar, they put it in a bag. A lead-lined bag, and they're like, cool, fucking, we'll send it to the drop site.
It's like, hey, Ted, looks like all these panties have cesium on them.
Gabriella gets home and all of her panties are
That's
gone.
the only thing out of the drawer.
They're like, yeah, you must have had some on your hands and ruffled through your underwear drawer. Also, your daughter's sock drawer for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason.
So, 85 homes are listed as contaminated. I think it was like 3 to 5 of them had to have their fucking roofs replaced.
Damn.
And after the cleanup, I don't know how this shit is measured out. It's like 7, I'm going to call it like milligrams. It's a good amount of cesium is still completely unaccounted for.
Ooh.
They still have, to this day, have no fucking idea
Oh
where
yeah,
this shit
with how
went.
much it can just powder away into the
just
air,
fucking blow
you'll
away.
never find it.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
So a little over a month goes by, and DeVere's 6-year-old niece, Leidy, she dies
Dead.
in an
Yeah.
isolated part of the agency. The staff didn't want to go near her because they were like, she is fully
She's
fucking
glowing,
radioactive. She had lost all of her hair. Her kidneys and lungs had completely failed. She was experiencing swelling across her entire upper body, and she had internal bleeding. I fucking wonder why.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
She was buried in a lead-lined coffin. However, 2,000 people in the city protested the fact that she was being buried in a cemetery. They're like, you're going to poison this whole area.
It's a lead-lined coffin.
This is 1987.
Babies.
They're like, what the fuck? So there's this protest at this 6-year-old girl's fucking funeral.
Jesus Christ.
They tried to block the street with like stone walls and shit that they just like, they get stones and they're like, you're not
Stack 'em
getting
up.
in here. And it's like, just climb over the fence, whatever. So yeah, they end up burying this poor little girl. The same day that Leidy died, Gabriella died. She also experienced hair loss and internal bleeding, but the main internal bleeding and swelling was in her arms and legs. Her eyes had also swollen up to the point where they were basically unusable, and her digestive tract was completely fucked. She
yeah.
totally used that stuff as anal lube.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it got into the anal lube on accident. It just he was like, "Hey, baby, let's try this."
Why not put one of these up your pooper tonight?
Ooh.
Shouldn't have done it. So her cause of death is listed as septicemia and generalized infection. I don't know what septicemia is. Septicemia.
Yeah, it's like sepsis.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Emia is like in the blood, like anemia.
Oh, okay.
Not enough.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's sepsis.
Generalized infection and everything.
Yeah.
So
It's a systemic infection.
I see. Just that makes sense. Gets through her whole like fucking blood
Yeah.
system. A couple days after Gabriella died, one of DeVere's employees, Israel, died of lymph node failure.
Lymph node failure. All right.
A couple
new
days
one.
after that, well, his was he had fucked around with the lead lining in the like chamber that those two dumb
yeah.
fucks busted open. So he dies of more or less like lead poisoning lymph node failure. A couple days after that, another of DeVere's workers, Admelson, he handled the capsule and helped Israel. And he died of lung and heart damage and internal bleeding as well.
Damn, I bet they all had infections too on the
Dude,
way out. Like
I'm sure.
Like that's one of the first things that's affected when you're hit by radiation is your white blood cells.
Makes
You just
sense.
can't make new ones.
Yeah, because it's
So you just can't
just
fight off an
massive,
infection.
massive like cell
Yeah.
just
Like the reason it
deconstruction,
works
more or
in
less.
like as a cancer treatment is cancer is very fast replicating, and certain chemo and certain types of radiation target fast growing
And
cells,
just
which is
destroys
why
the shit out
it
of your cells.
kills off your hair. It damages your mucous membrane lining, like your
okay,
gums and stuff
yeah.
like that. Whereas the other cells they just kind of hang out. It's those fast growing cells that it targets.
Okay.
So
Skin cells and everything get fucked up too.
well, they get fucked
Obviously.
up.
Is that why you get
That's
the
the
burns
burn.
and shit? Yeah.
Is- if you're going through chemo, you probably won't get the burn. It depends on your dosage and everything.
It depends on if you've looked directly into the glass shielding
It depends if
that's
you
not
picked up
supposed to be
cesium
exposed.
and your hand melted off.
The crazy thing is, because they weren't able to twist the capsule facing like the lead casing's hole, nothing was exposed at the old Goiania Radiation Institution. Like, they realized, there's no exposure here or anything. It was just when they got it back to Rob's house.
They probably twisted it.
Yeah, they probably got it to a place where
amount.
it like it was even further closed off, and then busted it open, and it was just downhill from there. It's just a beam of they're like, oh, it's a flashlight. That's crazy that a flashlight was in here.
Wow, the batteries. What is that? 6D batteries? It's goddamn.
That's what everybody was trying to find. They were just trying to find the fucking D batteries in there.
They're mint.
So the Goiania Radiation Institution was eventually charged with criminal negligence.
Yeah, straight up.
And they ended up having to pay $1.3 million in damages.
It's not enough.
No, not nearly enough.
Not nearly enough.
I'm pretty sure.
So you're telling me a 6-year-old girl's life is worth less than $1.3 million?
And the 3 other fucking people that died.
Yeah, that's why I said less than.
Yeah, and the 7 homes that were fucking deemed unlivable and destroyed.
The hundreds of people who got body damage and will die from cancer.
The 85 other homes that were fucking destroyed, and DeVere, who inevitably slipped into depression, got a drinking problem, and died of cirrhosis 5 years later.
I believe it.
Yeah, like, I'm sure that all those
1.4 million.
1.3 totally covers
1.3,
all that shit. There's another one that I'm planning on doing in the future that it's I found this because of this other kid's story. I guess he found like some little plutonium like vial on his way home from school.
I know that story.
Put it in his pocket and then put it in the cabinet.
Yeah.
And
that's a
it
fun
fucking
one.
he died, his mom died, his grandma and his sister died. His dad lived, and the reason they think his dad lived is because they were like, he was always out working, so he probably just didn't spend enough time in the home to be exposed. There was another one that I guess a capsule or something had gotten lodged in cement when they were pouring an apartment.
Oh, shit. That's
all of the
fucky.
people who lived in this fucking unit were dying of the same thing for like 15 fucking
Holy
years.
Shit. Wow, took some geniuses of the public health
until
department.
somebody was like,
figure that one out.
something's going on in here.
Dude.
So,
all right,
it's haunted. It's a haunted apartment.
It's a haunted apartment. Oh my god. Now, here's your radiation hazmat safety tip of the day. Time distance shielding.
Okay.
If the dose is low, but you're in it for a long time, it'll get you. If it's high, it only takes a little bit of time. So get out of there quick, no matter what it is. Distance. Radiation only travels a specific distance as its ion, essentially. If it gets attached to the dust and the dirt and shit like that,
I'll go further.
then it stays in the ground. It can be brought up. It can be pushed on the wind much further.
Jesus.
But in general, just at an exposure event, there's a limited distance where it'll travel.
Okay.
And then shielding, like I think it's alpha rays. I could be completely wrong. Yeah, pretty sure it's alpha rays. Can't even make it through a sheet of paper, like the average sheet of paper.
Oh, okay.
But gamma rays can go through like
fucking everything.
like a couple inches of lead. Like
Jesus.
It can go through a lot. I think just in general, you need, if you're making like a brick and concrete, like a cinder block and concrete bunker, if you're wanting to avoid radiation, it's got to be like 3 feet thick.
Jesus.
Or have a shitload of dirt on top.
Of lead.
No, of the concrete.
Just
of the concrete and brick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, lead is
damn.
pretty good at it. All the usable radiation that we have is lead stops most of it.
Okay.
There's your
fucking crazy.
time distance shielding. Just remember those.
Time distance shielding.
Yeah.
Crazy shit. So yeah.
There you go.
That's the Goiania incident.
That is not how I thought it would be pronounced.
Yeah, it took. I
Did you
had to look
Google
up
it?
how to find out how it was pronounced.
Nice.
So here we are. Yeah, goddamn, you got Patreon.
Fantastic. So become an amateur building scrapper today.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, do I have Patreon?
That's fine. We can burn some time.
Yeah, burn some time.
So, if you subscribe to us on Patreon, you can get one exclusive per month. We have a handful of like sloppy seconds episodes on there. We have a video that shows where we're recording. It's a nice little look into the studio. AJ is working on a series called Voices that he is doing survivors of the Holocaust, and kind of breaks down their experiences, edits the videos down, puts them up so that you guys don't have to sit through hours and hours of footage. Check it out if you can afford it. It's like $4.20 per month. We have a couple tiers on there: $4.20, $666, or $666, and then there's the $25 chairperson tier, which you get to tell us how to do our jobs.
Yeah, your votes outrank ours.
And if you can't afford it, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Don't worry
no
about
problem. Tell your friends also. Very important.
Yeah,
but
pass us along everywhere. And for those of you that are new and just finding us, we got a big old backlog.
yeah.
So
We
crash
should
through
we
that
should have
shit.
said that at the beginning.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, that's okay.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure out how to
we'll
do
get
this.
We'll
What
get
is
this
it?
fucking podcast thing down eventually.
Yeah.
It may have been like almost 4 years now, but
Nah.
we're getting there.
It's fine. All right. So of course the board, of course, they make all the decisions. They greenlit this project.
Yeah, they blue lit. They blue lit this project, so it was glowing blue.
Oh yeah, they blue lit. There you go.
Blue lit
It's like,
the
what
project.
the fuck are you talking? So of course, Mini D, Nordic Thunder, and Toddle Waddle. Thank you guys for you make up the bulk of our subscriptions, and
Yeah, you guys
are
are
killing
fucking
it.
amazing. Thank you so much.
and then of course we've got Abby, AJ's Third Nut, Thomas, Dark Runner, D's Nuts, and Laura Revo. Thank you guys so much for supporting us and keeping us going. It's
guys-
been almost 4 years. Like,
You guys are fucking fantastic. It's crazy shit.
I don't think I've ever done anything for 4 years
Yeah.
before.
No, not even being married.
Nope.
You will always have done your podcast for longer
than I've been
you've
married, which means the podcast is the priority. I know my wife
It's
usually
okay. Yeah,
she turns it off by now.
She tunes out by this point,
Yeah.
so it's okay.
But she's gonna tune back in with our new outro music.
Well, take
No?
a minute. I still gotta fucking
Oh,
do
you're not done yet? Oh,
do my
shit.
thing. And as usual, if you guys ever have any show ideas, you have suggestions for movie, TV shows, fucking books, music, an article that you're like, hey, check this shit out. Don't do an episode on it, but here's a really short, crazy, interesting thing. By all means, send it to us at our Instagram at pointsofpressure, and feel free to email us ppdnaj@gmail.com, and we will catch you guys next Monday.